just to give a bit of context, so I'm a Ben Awad subscriber since a couple of months or years now. I really enjoy his content. Couple of weeks ago, he made a video about VSCode story and how he built this cool extension for VSCode. I thought it was pretty interesting and entertaining. And then I think 2 weeks later, he made a video on how he sold the extension to someone. And I thought, when I saw the video, again, very entertaining, but I also thought, strange because it's open source. What's going on? What does it mean? And you are the guy who bought VSCode story from Ben Awad. So could you give us a bit of context of what happened? And
well, first of all, thanks for having me, William. I am a software developer and more recently a part-timepreneur. I'm passionate about code tools and open source. I saw VSCode stories trending on GitHub. I didn't see the YouTube video first.
So you were not originally a subscriber of Ben Awad's content, especially?
No, I weren't.
Interesting, okay.
I saw this project on GitHub and I was impressed by the momentum. Loved the idea of sharing code comments, code moments. Yeah.
So you saw that it was trending. I didn't even know it was trending so substantially on GitHub.
Well, it was featured in the trending repositories. I sometimes watch those, and I've looked at what is this. I realized it was some kind of satire. I also had my share of laughs, and cool. At the same time, I really I was impressed by the idea of this being a code tool that could be so much more than it is right now. It is some kind of a social network for developers, and it is self-sustaining. So people users who try this out see that something's going on there. It's above a critical mass, and that is rare. That is huge.
Yes.
So I thought, why not reach out and ask this guy, do you want to sell? And it happened.
Wow, I have so many questions. So first of all, was it hard to reach to Ben? And I guess my second question is, why did you think about buying this? It's open source. So what is your thinking about, I need to get ownership of this software? And what does it mean, since it's open source?
Well, one thing about open source is that anybody can spin up an instance and use it. But on social networks or any software that has a platform characteristic, there is always one master platform where it all happens. And people can try, and they probably tried spinning up other instances, and they will get a few users, and they won't reach the same amount of users. So what I was buying is the existing community and the potential for building on this the way I envision it, and potential to monetize as well, because I believe open source needs more monetization. It isn't healthy. Most open source projects aren't healthy. They start as some developer wanting to impress people for the resume, building up something, but then it can't be sustained because he doesn't get paid for maintenance, and maintenance is so important for software. That's why I bought VSCode Stories and started a Kickstarter. The Kickstarter failed. Maybe we can talk about this as well. But there will be a way of monetizing this to drive development.
All right. So you reached out to Ben. What happened? How was the process?
Well, I just wrote an email, and like he said in his video, he was just asked, "Do you want to sell?" And we haggled a bit. I must admit, Ben is not too bad at this.
Okay.
My idea was to buy it for like 2 to 3K.
Okay, nice.
But as the world knows, I ended up buying it for 9K, which I think is still a fair price. It's worth that. But he did a really good job with the handover.
Yes.
And I'm happy with the deal. I don't regret this. What I do regret is how the Kickstarter went.
So again, so much to unpack. So one thing which I really appreciated from the video is that actually the amount was disclosed, and I really love this kind of transparency. Was it something that was discussed? Like, is it, or for you, was it like obvious for the both of you that this number would be public immediately, or there were also things? I mean, I guess you needed to discuss all the terms of the deal, right?
Well, it was a simple deal without anything in written form.
Okay.
And we didn't discuss any NDA, and
okay.
I was a bit surprised about seeing the amount later on YouTube. But
okay, interesting.
I didn't know it beforehand that Ben would disclose this, but I have no problem with that.
Nice.
I mean, one hypothesis I also disclosed in a video of mine is that any project on GitHub that has a Kickstarter or a crowdfunding done on it for maintenance would be able to raise about $15 per GitHub star, and that was where my calculations were based upon, and I probably just failed with the execution. It was my first Kickstarter project. I got the traffic right. Also thanks to Ben, obviously.
Was it also something that was negotiated that, basically, you could leverage also his social platform, because he mentioned the Kickstarter on the social platform, etc., through a video. Was it something that was negotiated or was not part of the deal at all? Then he just made a video on his own, disclosing the amount number and talking about the Kickstarter, but that was not discussed? Or was it part of the deal as well?
No, it was not part of the deal in the way that I mean, I've wanted to make sure I can transition the users on my extension, because Microsoft doesn't allow handing over extensions. It was just possible on GitHub. I had to publish my own and move users over. And for that, obviously, I needed the support, and we agreed that he will announce this to the users to help me move over there. But he was free in the form to do so. Okay,
cool. Which I just discovered with us talking right now, and which I find fascinating, is that actually you didn't discover Ben Awad from his content creation, but just from the GitHub trending. And I find it interesting because, and I'm not sure if that's something you gave thoughts to, or whatever happens with VSCode story, one way to see what happened is that you gave support to, I find him great, to a great content creator. He puts a lot of great technical resources out there. He's very entertaining. And I mean, obviously you bought something and you can make it grow. But also, you also supported one of the bigger content creators in our community. Is that something you gave thoughts to, or since you're not coming from this side of things, it's not really something you thought about?
Well, I've looked at his stats because that was also something new to me. And I saw that VSCode stories really boosted Ben's views.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I didn't contribute to this, but profited from this. I didn't monetize on the Kickstarter, but I got over 1,000 visitors a day on the Kickstarter campaign. First, most of them came from the YouTube video, but then with time, more and more directly from the extension, where I showed a small notification to please support the Kickstarter. And I certainly profited from that, and it opened my eyes to this world of traffic and how you can get people on a checkout page. It was an eye opener, and I'm excited about these possibilities.
Cool. I saw on Twitter, you probably seen it as well, that Ben Awad is working on a new VSCode extension, and I just hope that whatever it is, someone says, "Oh, I'm gonna." So you bought it for 9,000 USD, or I just hope that someone is gonna be like, I'm gonna buy it for 10,000 USD, and then, every time he makes a new extensions, and that's one way he gets support from from his work on YouTube. But let's see what happens. And so your plan was to do a fundraising through Kickstarter to bootstrap the development of this extension further into a real world extension.
Yes, my plan is to grow to several 100,000 users, and this will be with organic growth by making the product better. The Kickstarter was one way to boost this, to incentivize developers, also to be able, on my part, to spend more time on it. That this failed maybe made things a bit slower, but it's still the plan to grow this platform, and I will monetize at some time and pay back the people who are helping me. I'm also amazed about the contributions of other developers. What would also be amazing if on the business development side, people could reach out and help me. So if you're a data scientist or a growth hacker watching this, reach out to me. I might have a golden opportunity for you.
And in the last video Ben did on this topic, he mentioned some technical challenges with spam and so on. Is that something you were concerned about, or?
I noticed that, and it was solved before the handover. Basically,
Okay.
he just switched back to text instead of GIFs. This is also...
So you were happy with this solution?
No, I'm not happy with the solution because it's a downgrade of functionality. Currently, VSCode Stories is some kind of a Telegraph style application where the messages just appear, and it's nothing near what I envision, which would be more like a modern code review tool. Something in that range where you can see code diffs, where you really can see with all the tech we have today what the developer is doing, comment on that, engage on that. And if you talk about it in old school technical terms, VSCode Stories has a network layer in place, and it has an application layer on top of that, which is the social network. But it lacks a good presentation layer, and that's where I'll be putting all my focus on to make it better.
Okay. You're a software engineer, so we didn't discuss your background, but you're a software engineer. You're working in Basel, in Switzerland, and I was just curious to know if your colleagues know what happened. Are some of your colleagues maybe were already Ben Awad's followers, or do people know about what happened, or not really? Like at work, it's not at all a big deal, or?
No, that's not really
you should be a hero, like
No, I mean that's one thing I will make I will do better in the next Kickstarter. I will certainly try again crowdfunding, and that was one of the big mistakes I made, to not mobilize my close network for this and have the pre-campaign way too short. Because the fundamentals of this, they would have been right. I was just too nervous. It was my first time. I wanted to get started as quick as possible. And maybe it was some element of fear, how somebody else might do it. They just need to do a Kickstarter. It would have been open, and they would have taken my monetization. And I was afraid of that. And that's, in retrospective, it's a shame. It would have even helped me.
So now I have a very personal question. You don't have to answer. That's absolutely fine. You mentioned earlier when we were talking that you are married. Did you involve your wife into the process, and how did it go?
I did. I had to get clearance for the amount to invest for the budget, and
so she is also a bit a co-owner of VSCode Story, right?
Right.
Legally speaking.
That's true. Yeah.
Cool.
To William, you said you had no regrets buying the extension, and I also think, I just love it that you did it, that you just like make a move, even though you have like not yet turned it into something super hugely successful. I mean, that all takes a lot of time. But you said you regretted the Kickstarter that you did. So would you do anything different?
Yes. I think I got the traffic right and the general setup, but I made some big beginner mistakes. The pitch was not so great. I just wanted to get it on as fast as possible, and so I did what I could within my means. No professional video production, just jotted down the first iteration of what I had in mind, and got out to people with this, with the message, please support me. And that was naive. And I've read on how to do a Kickstarter nowadays. You have everything is decided within the first 24 to 48 hours. The pre-campaign is even more important. And I did a few days of pre-campaign, but I didn't plan it through and didn't really mobilize my close network to help there.
That makes perfect sense to me. I would love to see the extension get better, see new features, and I think it's awesome that someone took on the task to take this and grow it further and refine it. And I have it downloaded, but actually all my friends, they use WebStorm. So I was thinking, are you considering in the long term some type of expansion to Atom, WebStorm, or other JetBrains IDEs, Xcode, so to support other platforms? And could you also imagine like Inter-IDE communication? So I can like record a story in VSCode and they could watch it in Xcode, for example.
I mean, several people have proposed this idea, and there are even contributors working on it. And I would be a user of this myself because I work with WebStorm primarily, and I use VSCode for smaller projects, but not for my day-to-day work. And I would be glad to have this vision. Yeah, that would be something that is even way more powerful than just being on one IDE.
Yeah, I believe so too. I mean, there are quite many players out there. In Switzerland, for some reason, WebStorm is really popular. And as it turns out, you use it as well. It seems like I'm the only one using VS Code Stories. So it would be great if there are support for multiple editors. After the Kickstarter, you are now considering your next move. Are you planning to go to another platform, or are you even planning to sell the extension further, like try to turn it into a profit or something, now that it has become even more popular and gained more popularity?
No, I'm not. I'm certainly not planning to sell that soon. First, this needs to be grown and actually be sustainable. It's not yet sustainable development-wise. There is some sustainability in the platform itself within the users. Because it's above the critical threshold that when you start the extension, that something is going on there and there's activity. I mean, that's the value it has right now. That's the core of the value. But there's much to be done before this can sell or be profitable. Yeah.
I have one final question. So we talked a bit before the interview, and you said that at your company where you work at, you use Angular. So Ben Awad is kind of like taking shots at Angular in pretty much every single video. Do you get annoyed by that?
I mean, he also made some remarks during the handover about MongoDB. And I mean, it's a typical YouTube thing to make fun of other technologies. In the times of forums, these were called flame wars, and I just don't take this too seriously. Angular is a well-established front-end platform. It has its strengths, it has its weaknesses, and I would certainly not use it for a small application. And yeah, that's what I think about Angular.
Thanks a lot, Roland, again for coming the long way. I loved to hear like all the details about your negotiation process. We know so much more, and I think we've uncovered a story that hasn't been told yet. We heard your perspective. I enjoyed it a lot. Thanks a lot for coming.
Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks.